Hello and welcome to Animal Reserve. This is challenge number 7, and yes, my friends, it is an on your own problem. So, you should have solved the entire problem, and now you're watching this video just to make sure you did everything correctly. Without further ado, let us move on to our scenario. You are trying to protect a family of bald eagles, and this is where they live. This is a lovely place. They flap their wings and fly way up here to the mountaintop. And then they come on down here and they probably hunt for fish right here. That's yummy for a bald eagle, isn't it? Yes, sirree. Anyway, their home is in the Polygon area shown below. In order to protect this animal reserve, you must solve for the area of their home. You're going to look at the measurements below, blah, 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 and figure out how many square kilometers is in the animal reserve. That is correct, my friends. All right, so let's go ahead and start to solve this problem. Alrighty, my friends. So first and foremost, this polygon here is actually called a trapezoid. I am sure you knew that. However, what we need to do is first write down the formula to figure out the area of a trapezoid. And the formula is area equals base 1 plus base 2. And then you're going to divide all that by 2 and then multiply whatever that is by the height. And bam. Hey, let's talk a minute for why this works. And it's really actually pretty cool because what we do with this formula here is we actually change it from a trapezoid with a long bottom and a small top into a rectangle, and then we can just really use base times height. Let me show you how that works because it's really kind of cool here. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a little area here, and I'm going to make one little box here that's going to, or a line here, okay, that's going to represent the bottom, and that's the base 1, okay? Let's call that base 1. And then let's make another one up here for base 2, and I'll do that right here. And just go base 2, and that's about that height, right? Or that length. All right, so now if you look at the formula once again, you're taking base 1 right here plus base 2 right here, right? And then you're going to add those together and you're going to divide by 2, right? So this is really finding the average, right? Because if we have two numbers and we add them together and then we divide by 2, we find the average. Now, let's look at what that happens here. This is kind of cool. So if I take this and I figure out the average between the length of this and the length of this, that means I'm going to make this one a little bit longer. So let's go ahead and do that. And we're going to just kind of pretend. And then I'm going to take this one down here and make it a little bit shorter. And I'm going to do it to the point where they're both about the same length, right? Because if I'm finding the average, that's exactly what's going to happen, right? So now, all of a sudden, instead of having a top that is, let me find my pointer here, a top that's short, I've got the top that's the same length as the bottom. And let's just go ahead and do something kind of cool here. So I'm going to bring this down and up, and now, hang on a second, and voila, there you have it. Now, as you see, my bottom base has gotten a little bit smaller, right? And my top base has gotten a little bit bigger on each end. And now I have a rectangle, so I can really just do base times height, and bam, there you have it, right? Well, that's exactly what this first part of the formula does. I took the bottom, base 1, plus base 2, and then I divided by 2 to find the average, right? And then I've got my base times height, which is just really my height. So let's go ahead and do this first step here and start to plug in the numbers. So I can't even read that, my friends. All right, so base, actually I did it a bit backwards. Here's base 1. It doesn't really matter because you're just adding these two together. So base 1 is 3 kilometers and base 2 is 8 kilometers. So let's go ahead and plug in the numbers. So I'm going to write the same thing here. Area equals base 1 is, oops, that was 3 kilometers, right? And plus base 2 is 8 kilometers. Let's just double check that. So sure enough, I've got base 1 is 3, base 2 is 8, so 8 plus 3. Then I'm going to take that and divide that by 2 That goes in parentheses. And then I'm going to multiply it by the height, right? And anytime you have parentheses right next to a variable, and your height is the variable because it would change depending on if you had a different trapezoid here, right? So, and this is 6, so I can just say times 6. I don't know if I finished my last statement. I'm going crazy. Anytime you have parentheses right next to a variable, it means multiply. Okay, and now I'm all set. So let's go ahead and take the 3 plus 5, which is going to give me 11, right? So I'm going to write 11 here, divided by 2. I'm going to put that in parentheses and then just drop my 6 here. And then I got to drop the A equals. So now I'm down to 11 divided by 2. Well, 11 divided by 2 is going to give me 5.5, right? So I can just really write that as A equals 5.5. And now I'm multiplying that by 6. So if I take 6 times 5, I'm going to get 30. So I'm going to drop my 0. And I'm going to carry my 3. I'm going to just write it in red here, okay? And then I take 6 times 5, which is going to give me a 30 again, right? Plus the 3 is going to give me 33. So let's go ahead and write 33 there. But wait, my friends, because remember, we are dealing with a decimal here. So I got to go one loop-a-doop here, which makes me go one loop-a-doop right there. And that means that my decimal goes right there. So my actual answer is 33, right? So area equals 33. Let's just do that. Area equals 33. Bam, right there it is. So that means, my friends, that your bald eagle friends here, right up there, swimming around. Actually, they're not swimming around. They're flying around, and sometimes they waddle around when they're on the ground. And they have 33 kilometers squared of an area for their animal reserve to flap and fly and crawl around on, waddle around rather, because they're eagles, right? Anyway, hey, as always, my friends, if you made a mistake anywhere along the way, no worries at all. Pause that video, fix that mistake. That is your fastest way to learn. Until next time, I hope you have a fantastic day. I'll see you soon.